I was wrong. 3 of the most powerful words a man can speak. 3 words that most men would rather die than utter. 3 words that could transform your marriage, your parenting, your leadership, your walk with God. Yet they stick in your throat like thorns. Why? Because somewhere along the way, you absorbed the lie that real men are never wrong. That admitting error is admitting weakness. That security comes from certainty, and respect from being right. So you argue longer than you should. You defend positions you know are crumbling. You refuse to learn because learning requires acknowledging you don't already know. And you remain in chains, shackled to mistakes you can't admit, bound by pride that won't bend, imprisoned by the exhausting need to maintain a facade of perfection. This isn't strength. It's fragility masquerading as fortitude. Saul of Tarsus was certain of his rightness, so certain that he imprisoned and executed followers of Jesus with religious zeal and clear conscience. His identity was built on being right. Then came Damascus, blindness, revelation, the humbling realization that his certainty was catastrophically wrong. Did this discovery weaken him? No. It transformed him into Paul, perhaps the most influential human in Christian history. His strength wasn't found in never being wrong. It was found in surrendering to truth, even when that truth demolished everything he thought he knew. Whatever was to my profit, he later wrote, I now consider loss for the sake of Christ. The gospel itself begins with 3 words that echo our theme. I was wrong. Not spoken casually, but deeply. Not about minor matters, but moral ones. Not about mistakes, but about sin. The cross makes no sense to a man who can't admit he's wrong. Grace is wasted on those who think they're right. So what keeps us chained to this crushing need for rightness? First, we've confused being wrong with being worthless. We've tied our identity so tightly to our correctness that admitting error feels like losing ourselves. Second, we've forgotten that growth requires acknowledgement of where we currently stand. You can't navigate to new territory without honestly assessing your current location. Being wrong isn't failure. Refusing to acknowledge wrongness is. Third, we fear what others will think. We imagine that admitting error will cost us respect, authority, influence. Yet the opposite is true. Nothing earns respect faster than honest self-assessment, and nothing destroys it quicker than obvious self-deception. Fourth, we've bought the cultural lie that strength never bends, but true strength isn't rigid. It's resilient, not brittle, but flexible. Not determined to stand its ground, but determined to stand on truth, even when that truth shifts the ground beneath our feet. How do we break these chains? Start small. Practice saying, I don't know when you don't know. Try, I was mistaken when you were mistaken. Work up to, I was wrong, and I'm sorry, when you were wrong, and you're sorry. These aren't signs of weakness, but of maturity. Study under those who know more than you. Seek mentors who challenge your thinking. Read books that question your assumptions. The man who's never wrong is the man who stopped growing. Separate being wrong from being diminished. Your worth isn't tied to your correctness. It's established by your Creator and secured by your Redeemer. You can be completely wrong and completely loved simultaneously. Embrace the freedom that comes with intellectual honesty. The freedom to learn without defensiveness. The freedom to grow without pretense. The freedom to lead without the exhausting burden of assumed omniscience. James, the brother of Jesus, wrote that God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. Consider that equation. God actively opposing your pride versus God actively empowering your humility. Which position would you rather occupy? Men, the most dangerous person in the room isn't the one who's wrong.
It's the one who can't admit they're wrong. The most stunted leader isn't the one who makes mistakes. It's the one who can't acknowledge them. The most precarious faith isn't the one with questions. It's the one that forbids them. Break the chains today. Embrace the freedom of being wrong so you can discover the joy of being changed. Trade the prison of artificial certainty for the wide open spaces of authentic growth. Because the truly strong man isn't the one who's never wrong. It's the one who's not afraid to be.